Okay, so this should be the second video where I'm going over pretty much the classroom tour and everything that you need to know about A202 art room. All right, first thing, this is the board. This is what you're checking every single day when you walk in. And that's pretty much it, nothing much to look at. Next thing is, this is your turn-in area. So this is where you're gonna turn in all your artwork. It's labeled by your period or block. It's probably gonna change. I'll probably have a first block next year. So anyway, labeled by your block. And then, I could change it though. I could probably just do Art 1 or Art 2, Art 3, and AP. I don't know. I don't think I want AP to use these or have to use them. Anyway, and then if you do not put your name on anything, or your work, I should say, you get the no name, no fame basket. So if you end up with a 0 in Skyward, check this basket first, please, because it's most likely here, especially if you turned it in. We also have an artist of the week. I'll try to get to this when I get back to school. However, I like to choose one artist per class. Sometimes it's just one artist a class, and then sometimes I just choose an artist every class that I have. But the teacher that takes over for me, you're more than welcome to do this. You don't have to, but it's cute to look at, especially when you turn in your work. Okay. Also, don't mind the mess. We're at the end of the year. But anyway, this is the drawing rack. I've tossed some stuff on top of it for a moment, but it will eventually not be there. But anyway, this is the big drawing rack. Just be careful. These do lift, but however, they're spring loaded, so they'll start to go up on you. So look, yeah. Normally I have something on top. I'm gonna throw, it's gonna go. Thanks. I'm just gonna throw this project on top. Eee. That's Bailey's project. There we go. We'll have some weight there. Anyway, that's this drawing rack. Also, again, don't mind the mess. It's the end of the year. Here's a small drawing rack. The spring loading issue is not an issue there. So, anyway. Okay. Don't mind the mess. Don't mind the mess. Next thing, we have our shelves. Now, these shelves are dedicated to AP art only. So, if you are not an AP student, you do not get a shelf. However, if you are an AP student, this is where you'll put your work. On the first day, you guys will make a name tag. Make a pretty name tag because it's going to be on display all year. So choose your shelf, you'll label it. And that's pretty much it as far as those shelves go. These drawers will be empty. So any of my Art 3s, if you want to put your artwork in here, you can. I'm about to show you, but you will have some shelves too, just not big shelves. Speaking of drawers though, these two are occupied. These are where our magazines are. And they're kind of full to the brim. If you have a magazine or get a magazine, just don't leave a bunch of scraps in here because most people don't even dig through those anyway. So if you end up ripping something out, just find some way to use it. So those are magazines. Now I'm going to go through the supplies. Now the supplies ultimately might change, but for the most part, the supplies will stay the same, just the organization might be a little bit different. Okay, this is kind of like the drawing section or drawing materials section, and I'm just going to start down here. Now these are all of our drawing materials that we learn in Art 1, and we have drawing pencils, we have sandpaper. This sandpaper is only for sanding pencils and your blending stumps. Do not use them for other projects. I have other sandpaper for other projects. So these are for pencils and blending stumps only. Okay, so drawing pencils, sandpaper, blending stumps. By the way, how I have it organized, or neatly put together, I should say, is how I expect it to be at the end of class each day. So it's very pretty. Keep it that way. All right. Next thing. These are kind of like our specialty pens. These are not very special, I'm going to be honest, but they're just regular ballpoint pens. They're very inexpensive. My Art 2s, this will be the material you guys will use for your first big project. But yeah, these are just regular pens. The next pens we have are Micron pens. And I'm going to be honest, these go very quickly. So I would take this time to see if you like them. And if you really like them, just buy your own set. Because, again, they just go very quickly, especially when there's 3 classes using them at a time. But if you've never used Micron pens, or not pens, or pencils, what was I saying? If you've never used Micron pens before, they vary in how fine they go. So I just taped this little chart here that the package comes with, just to let you know how fine that they get. And that's also on the cup too, if you ever take the cup out. But for example, it says 005. You'll just look at the top. And then make sure it matches the side. Some people don't pay attention to that. So just make sure you put the caps on them right, what I'm trying to say. And then it'll tell you. Okay, and then lastly we have our white gel pens. These have different sizes too. I think just 2 though, I believe. But those are great for highlights and other things. All right, next we have our pencil sharpeners. I have 2 kinds of pencil sharpeners. The first one is this little tote, and inside the little tote I have just like a regular pencil sharpener that normally comes in like those drawing sets that you get as a kid. You will put your pencil shavings in here too. Just make sure when you dump out the pencil shavings, you don't lose the pencil sharpener with it. If you don't want to mess with any of that, I do have these. These are great to take back to your seat and use. However, the tops of them have started to kind of break a little bit. So anyway, I have these as well. All right, my colored pencils, I'm going to be honest, I'm not like the happiest with how we have them right now. I think eventually I would like to color coordinate them. But for right now, we just have them in these boxes. Next, we have our alcohol markers. My Art 2s, you guys will have a whole video on alcohol markers and how to use them. But if you decide to use them before that video, let's see if I can get this unzipped. Just make sure that you know that they're double-sided, and to make sure to put the caps back on them because they are expensive. There's 2 different ones. There's ones with brush tips, and then like a chisel tip. So you can open those and take a peek and check those out. Okay, hold on, let me set that down so I can zip that up. All right. Speaking of markers, this is probably like the most annoying thing as an art teacher, where these 2 bins commonly get misconstrued and like so unorganized. It's annoying. So I'm going to go over this. And if you do not take anything from this video, I want it to be this because it's so annoying. I don't know why it frustrates me, but it does. Okay. There's 2 different types of Sharpie. There's fine Sharpies, which are like pretty much the regular standard Sharpie. And then there's the ultra fine, okay? And these are, like stated, very fine. Oh, I can't open that. So they have a much smaller end than the originals. Keep these separate because for some reason, it was probably my fault. I had them weirdly labeled, but they would just end up mixed, and it bothered me. So again, fine Sharpies, regular, ultra fine. the skinny ones. All right, so those are those. Then we just have like regular colored Sharpies. I have more colored Sharpies over there, but these are kind of like a mixture of like the ultra fine and the fine, and they're mostly like pastels and like random assortment colors, so I have those. And then if none of these markers work, meaning like alcohol markers, fine Sharpies, ultra fine Sharpies, colored Sharpies, and even these I haven't talked about yet, put them in the dead marker bin. Dead meaning like they don't work anymore, and I recycle them, so make sure to put them there. And then I guess the next kind of marker or pen I'm going to talk about will be the paint pens. These are nicely labeled. I'm going to be honest, I haven't checked these to make sure they all are nice and functioning, but we're just going to work with what we have for the fall semester. So again, they're labeled large paint pens, medium, and fine point. No one has issues ever organizing these, so those are paint pens. Just make sure you put the caps on them really well, because they are kind of pricey. So, okay. Markers. I have these like horribly labeled because they're like the old school washable markers. As far as like coloring and doing projects, don't recommend. However, if you're in Art 3 and you're doing an independent study and like, I don't know, I had a student one time do a like airbrush effect with these, and it was really cool. But I wouldn't recommend them for like a project. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, washable markers. And then kind of just regular drawing materials, pencils. This is like a straw container. You just press down on it. And then you return your pencil like so. Erasers. This is also like the not fun side of being an art teacher. I get erasers back that look like this, and I'm just gonna blame my art ones on this. But do not be that person that like just stabs the eraser. Take your aggression out somewhere else, okay? Not on my erasers. However, treat them like this and keep the, not that side. Treat them like this, where they're just nice and normal. Also, don't know why some end up broken. They're still usable. Also, in this eraser bin, I have cap erasers. So if you have a pencil without an eraser, I do have these. All right, that should be it for our drawing materials. Down here on the counter, we have masking tape. That's the white tape, painter's tape, and then we have duct tape. Masking tape is great for, I don't know, just all sorts of things. Taping off around your paintings or pieces. Painter's tape is great. It's just not as strong. Especially if you're paper macheing, do not use painter's tape. And then you guys know what duct tape is. All right, and then pencil sharpeners, or pencil sharpener, electric one. Just no colored pencils. Colored pencils just gum up the machine and make it stop working. Also, if it's plugged in and it's not working, just make sure the drawer is pushed in. If the drawer's out like this, it won't work. So just make sure it's pushed in. Here's some more colored pencil, or not colored pencils, colored Sharpies. I don't know if these are going to stay this way, but they work for the most part. Just some more colored Sharpies. Okay, next. We have reusable canvases, meaning somebody has left behind some project that they didn't love and I'm just wanting to reuse a canvas. This can be for personal projects, or if you're trying to work on something during class, I would recommend you grabbing one of these first, then going to get a new canvas. So reusable canvases up for grabs for you. All right, next I want to talk about paper, because most people do not know this, but there's different types of paper. And the first one that you're probably most familiar with is drawing paper. So do not come to my class and be like, Miss Spence, I don't have a sketchbook. I have no idea what to do. I have it right here. A lot of these are from old sketchbooks that I've just taken out the paper. So these are great for sketching. Okay, so if you need sketching done, that's drawing paper. Construction paper. You guys know what construction paper is. However, a lot of people that need construction paper, they only need a little bit. So whenever you just are in that situation where you only need a little bit of construction paper, check the scrap paper drawer first, because a lot of people will come by and make little small cuts here and there and still end up with a big chunk of paper. Also, do not be this person. I did make this example. I'm not calling anyone out for this. Don't do this, okay? Don't take a whole sheet and cut out what you need directly in the center, okay? Go off to the side. Makes much more sense. Anyway, that is the scrap paper drawer. Okay, watercolor paper. This is specifically for watercolor paints. So do not grab watercolor paint or paper if you're wanting to draw. It's for watercolor paints. Scrapbook paper. This is honestly just fun paper that you can use for any projects or in your sketchbook. Same thing with the construction paper though. If you only need a little bit of it, cut what you need and then just place it back in the scrap drawer. And then there's mixed media paper. Most people don't know about mixed media paper. Again, this is not drawing paper. This is for painting, more so like acrylic paints, colored pencils, alcohol markers, pretty much essentially what it says, mixed media, but not drawing paper. Okay, we're getting to the end. This is kind of the glue and scissors section with some rulers. I'm going to start here. We have our scissors, regular scissors. I don't like to leave my lefties out, so we have lefty scissors. We have rulers, and I'm going to be honest, I hate the wooden rulers. These are old school. I totally recommend the metal rulers, and they're like the nice metal ones. These are very old and dingy. They've been around for a while. Please do not be that annoying person that hits rulers on the table. It's annoying. Okay. Real quick though, let's talk about the paper cutter. Just because it's here and you're more than welcome to use it. And let me just grab a sheet of paper to kind of do like a little demo on. So I'm just going to use this sheet here. First thing you're going to do is you're going to unlock it. This is not a toy. This is a big sharp blade, so do not be dumb and stick your hand underneath it or anything else other than paper. Unlock it, you'll lift it up, and then you can see where the blade's going to cut. Right at the end of the metal strip is where the blade will hit. Also account for how big the blade is. It's about, I don't even know how wide you would say that is. It's not that wide. And then you will cut your paper. Well, hold it. And that's really it. And then when you're done, set it down, lock it back. Any scraps that you have, just make sure to throw away so it's nice and clean in here. I'm just going to throw this back in the scrap drawer. Okay. I'm going to do a whole hot glue gun video, but just know hot glue guns. Glue sticks, I don't need to go over that. Just make sure to put a cap on them. Sealants, I will go over that one real quick. Mod Podge is a sealant. It's also a glue, but it's more so a sealant. I have two different kinds. I have gloss, which will have a very shiny finish. Did you need to see that? And then a matte finish, which does not have a gloss finish. And then I do have some spray fixatives. Go outside to spray these, give them a nice shake. Hold it like about a foot away There's instructions on the back too, but these are great for like pastel works and charcoal works, and I have those. And then honestly need to throw this away. It's pretty much empty, but this is a satin finish for other projects, such as like a paper mache project. Okay, so that's our sealants. Glue bottles, I feel like I don't need to go over that. Just make sure to close them. Hair dryer, we have one just now, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Just make sure to unplug it and put it back where it goes. And then X-Acto blades, we have them here. They're kind of put away out of the way for a reason, so do not leave them out. I'm going to do a whole video, but I guess I will say the X-Acto blades are in here, labeled for you. They look like this. Some have caps, some don't. It's fine. Just try to keep up with the caps if it does have one. But these are the X-Acto blades. If you grab an X-Acto blade, you must grab a cutting board. Okay, do not go back to your table with just a blade. You have to have this guy. These are self-healing. These are great. I have some with paint on them, but try not to get paint on them because they are very nice and expensive. So, and these just go back here. And then I think that's it. This is pretty much all the materials you guys will use. If you ever have a question as to where materials are, they're most likely here. The only other area would be the sinks, and that would be paint. Pretty much all your paint supplies, and I'll go over that in the painting video. All right. Hopefully this video wasn't too long, but it gives you a good rundown of how I like things and what materials we have in the art room. All right. Bye, guys. I just remembered that I forgot to mention where Art 2 and Art 3, where you'll put your things. So Art 3, you are going to place all of your stuff in here. At the first day of school, should be after this video actually, you will be making a name tag. Same thing for you, Art 2. So you're going to put those here. So labeled Art 3. I even put how I want you to put your name tag here. Hopefully you can see that. I would just want you to tape it to the front somewhere. So if my name was Art 3, my stuff would go right here. I think there's plenty of you to where you could have 2 to a shelf. But anyway, Art 1's currently in here, so that's why it's a little messy. But Art 3, you're gonna be here. Also wanna mention Art 3, if your piece, or if you don't wanna put stuff here, or if your piece is too large, you can go to the illustration drawers, just label the outsides. All of these are good to use. Also, if you end up doing a 3-dimensional piece, you're more than welcome to use these big drawers that are not occupied. So that is Art 3. And then Art 2, you guys just have this cabinet here labeled Art 2. And then same thing, after you make your label, whenever you finish it, just place your name tag on your shelf. I believe the same thing, there should be enough for 2 to a shelf. If not, maybe like 1 or 2 of you will have to have 3, but I think you'll be fine. And that is it for Art 2. And I'm just going to repeat that again. Art 2, you're here. Art 3, you're here. And then AP Art, you have all these shelves. I'd recommend you not go on a top shelf just because typically people forget about stuff up there. And that is it. Hopefully this is the official end to the art room tour video. Bye, guys.